Hey everyone, ready to make your travels a bit greener? Today we're diving deep into eco-friendly travel tips.
Ooh, I like that. A deep dive.
Especially for those of us who want to see the world, without leaving a huge footprint behind.
Yeah.
We're using this awesome blog as a source called Traveling in My 70s.
Oh, cool.
Written by a seasoned traveler, loves sustainable adventures. Think of it as like your shortcut to eco-travel expertise.
I like that. Without being overwhelmed.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
You get the knowledge without all the extra stuff.
Totally.
So why is this so important? Why is eco-friendly travel important, especially for maybe more seasoned travelers?
Well, I think what's fascinating about that blog and the perspective is you're often talking about people taking longer trips.
Right.
So the impact of your choices really adds up.
Yeah.
It's not just about like minimizing your footprint, but also just thinking about the strain of over-tourism can put on destinations.
Over-tourism is a huge issue, and I've seen it myself. Some places are really struggling to deal with all the visitors. So what can we do? Let's jump into these tips.
Yeah, let's do it.
And see how we can make a difference. The blog starts with a great one.
Okay.
Choosing eco-friendly places to stay. I like a bit of luxury,
Of course.
but I also want to make sure my stay isn't hurting the environment.
Absolutely. And the good news is you don't have to sacrifice comfort. There are so many good options out there now.
Right.
From eco lodges, hotels, all doing great things. But the key is, don't just take their word for it. Look for credible certifications.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like LED
Yeah.
or Green Globe.
I've heard of those, yeah.
They make sure these places meet standards.
So it's not just a marketing ploy.
Right, exactly.
It's actually legit.
Yeah.
They're doing the right thing.
It covers everything.
Wow.
Energy efficiency, water conservation,
Yeah.
even sustainable building materials.
Oh, wow. That's really helpful. I'm definitely going to look for those from now on. I used to think eco-friendly accommodations meant like roughing it. But it sounds like you can find luxurious options that are just as committed to being green.
Yeah, it's about that sweet spot where luxury and responsibility meet,
I like that.
right? You can enjoy a comfortable stay,
Yeah.
knowing that you're supporting businesses that are minimizing their impact.
Makes me feel better about spending my money there.
Exactly. Think about it. Solar panels,
Mm-hmm.
energy-saving appliances, low-flow shower heads,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Adds up. Okay, I'm sold. What about transportation? That's like a travel essential.
Absolutely.
The blog author is a big advocate for using public transport whenever possible.
Oh, yeah.
I'll admit, I do like renting a car, just the convenience,
Sure.
but I'm starting to see the appeal of maybe slowing down, taking the scenic route.
There is something so special about train travel.
Yeah,
Not only is it better for the environment,
way better than flying.
yeah, but it just gives you such a different perspective.
Right.
You're going through those landscapes, maybe even striking up conversations.
Yeah,
You can't really do that when you're driving.
that's so true. You've convinced me. I'm picturing myself on a train, winding through the Italian countryside, sipping cappuccino, just watching vineyards roll by.
Sounds nice.
Way better than battling traffic.
Exactly. Speaking of minimizing what you're carrying, the blog also talks about packing light. I'm terrible at that.
Me too. I always feel like, what if I need this?
Right.
What if I need that?
You got to be prepared.
Overpacked suitcase.
But think about this. Every extra pound adds to the weight
Oh, yeah, that's true.
that planes and trains have to carry. More fuel consumption,
Yeah?
more emissions. Packing light isn't just about convenience.
Right.
It's about the environment.
Makes sense. Plus, isn't it so nice to travel with just a carry-on?
It's the best. You're agile,
Yeah?
less weighed down,
And I hate checking bags.
and you're less likely to lose it.
True. You inspired me. I'm going to try the minimalist packing approach next time.
I love that.
And that actually ties in nicely with the next tip, which is all about embracing slow travel.
Yes.
What is that?
Well, it's about shifting your mindset.
Okay.
Instead of like a checklist of places,
Yeah.
you're really appreciating the journey,
Mm.
spending more time in fewer places, really immersing yourself, savoring every moment.
So it's like trading those frantic sightseeing tours for like leisurely walks.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And when you slow down, you naturally reduce your impact.
that's true.
Fewer flights, shorter distances, consuming less, win-win.
I like win-wins. Right, slow travel it is. But let's get practical. What are some things we can do during our stay, like to actually be more eco-conscious? I'm all for grand gestures, But, sometimes it's the little things.
Absolutely. The blog has some great tips for conserving water and energy, turning off lights when you leave, taking shorter showers,
I can do that.
reusing towels.
Simple stuff.
All of that can significantly reduce your impact.
Wow, those are all super easy. Anyone can do those. It's just about being more mindful, even on vacation.
Totally.
Speaking of mindful choices, what about single-use plastics? That's a huge problem when you're traveling.
That's a massive problem. But we can take steps.
Okay.
Bringing your own reusable water bottle.
Always do that.
Huge. Refill it. Lots of places have refill stations.
Yeah, I've seen them. Yeah.
And consider a little reusable cutlery set.
Oh.
To avoid those plastic utensils.
I never thought about that.
You'd be surprised how often those come in handy.
Especially if you're doing picnics or, grabbing food on the go.
Exactly.
And I love the idea of supporting local restaurants that use, seasonal ingredients, locally sourced ingredients.
It's the best. You experience the region.
Yeah.
While reducing your footprint.
And supporting the local economy. Love it.
Right. It's all about those conscious choices.
It is. And speaking of responsible travel, let's talk about supporting sustainable tourism initiatives.
Yes, this is important.
It's important, but sometimes how do I know if a company's really doing it?
It's all about doing the research, asking the right questions.
Okay.
Do they use local guides?
Yeah.
Are they minimizing their impact?
Yeah.
Do they give back to the community?
We like that.
These are the questions you got to ask.
So it's about going beyond those glossy brochures and figuring out what the company really stands for.
Look for certifications, awards that show they're doing things right. And don't be shy. Reach out to them. A good company will happily tell you all about it.
That makes sense. It's like anything else. A little research goes a long way. Now let's talk about carbon offsetting. I'm familiar with the concept,
yes,
but I don't really get how it works and whether it's actually effective.
Great question. It can be confusing.
Yeah.
Basically, it's investing in projects that reduce emissions.
To compensate for the emissions I'm creating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think of it as balancing the scales.
Okay, so I'm basically acknowledging the impact of my trip and then taking action to counteract it.
Yeah. And there are different types of projects.
Oh, okay.
Reforestation efforts, absorbing carbon dioxide, renewable energy projects, getting us off fossil fuels.
That's cool. But how do you know if a program is legit?
Do your research.
Yeah.
Look for transparency, accountability, evidence of real impact. There are some good programs out there. Gold Standard.
Okay.
UN's Climate Neutral Now, they have high standards.
So they vet the projects.
Yes, making sure your money is actually doing something.
That's good to know. I'm starting to see how carbon offsetting can be a good tool in our eco-travel kit. It's not a perfect solution, but it's a step in the right direction.
It is. And remember, it should be in addition to our efforts to reduce emissions.
Not instead of.
Right. It's a holistic approach.
Okay, before we wrap up this part of the dive,
I
want to go back to something we touched on earlier. Respecting natural environments.
Yeah.
I love that saying.
Right.
Take only memories, leave only footprints. But what does that actually look like in practice?
It's minimizing your impact, preserving those special places, staying on marked trails, disposing of waste properly, even being mindful of noise levels.
I never thought about the noise. Yeah, that's true.
We're guests. We need to act accordingly.
And of course, observing wildlife from a safe distance.
Of course.
Not feeding them.
No.
I mean, I know that, but people do it.
It disrupts them. Can even put them at risk. Remember, we're just visitors.
So true. It's all about respect for the environment, the creatures, and the local communities we visit.
Well said. Respect for all. It really is all about, traveling with that awareness, that responsibility.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered a lot. From eco-friendly places to stay and transportation to packing light, slow travel. We've even talked about being mindful during our stay. But you know what I keep thinking about? This blog author mentioned a list of sustainable tour operators.
Oh, yeah.
And it made me wonder, how do you really know if a company is actually doing what they say when it comes to sustainability?
That is such a good question. And honestly, I think it's something that every traveler who cares about this stuff needs to consider. Greenwashing is a real thing.
It's everywhere these days.
It is. So you got to do your homework before you book any tours or activities.
So what should we look for? What are some red flags? And what are the signs that a company is really legit?
I gotcha. Here's a little checklist.
I love checklists.
First, look for transparency. A truly sustainable tour operator is going to be upfront about how they do things. They'll have a detailed sustainability policy on their website, talking about their commitment to the environment, social responsibility, ethical business practices. Yep.
Okay, so if they're hiding something, that's a red flag.
Huge red flag. Next, look for certifications. Accreditations. From legit organizations. There are different eco-labels and standards out there that recognize sustainable tourism. For example, the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, they set those international standards. And tour operators that have that GFTC certification have proven they're committed.
So those certifications are like a stamp of approval.
Exactly. It's that extra assurance. Another thing, community engagement.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Does the tour operator work with local communities?
Yeah.
Do they hire local guides and staff?
Yeah.
Support local businesses and initiatives?
I've seen tours that really highlight that local connection. Like they'll take you to meet artisans or visit family-run businesses or even participate in like cultural exchanges.
That is a fantastic sign. It means they care about those communities, not just profits.
That's what I want to support. So don't be afraid to ask questions.
Right. Reach out to the tour operator directly. Ask them about their practices. What are their environmental initiatives, their social impact? Are they really committed to ethical travel?
I love that. It's like turning the tables, interviewing them, making sure they're the right fit.
You got it. And pay attention to their answers.
Yeah.
Are they excited to talk about it? Do they give you detailed answers?
Yeah.
Or are they kind of vague and dismissive?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Those are all things to consider.
It sounds like finding a truly sustainable tool operator takes a little bit of detective work. But it's worth it to make sure our travel experiences align with our values.
It is so worth it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've found that often the most sustainable tours are the ones that are really connected to a place. They're all about showcasing the natural beauty, the culture, the authentic experiences of a destination. It's not about rushing through. It's about really slowing down, connecting with the local culture, leaving a positive impact.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about finding those sustainable accommodations, transportation, even tours. But what about just everyday things we do during our travels? How can we be more eco-conscious explorers in our daily choices?
I'm so glad you asked that. Sometimes it's those little things that make the biggest difference. Let's start with water. Conserving water is super important.
Right.
Especially in places that don't have a lot of it.
Yeah, you know, I've definitely traveled to areas where water is precious. It really makes you think twice.
Right. So here are a few easy things. Take shorter showers.
Okay.
Turn off the tap when you're brushing your teeth. Shaving. Reuse your towels.
Easy peasy. I can definitely do that.
Right. It all adds up.
It doesn't feel like a sacrifice either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, energy, just like water. Saving energy is key to reducing our impact.
For sure.
Make it a habit. Lights off, air conditioning off, everything off when you leave your room.
Whoops. I'm guilty of that one sometimes. But I can be more mindful.
We all can. It's easy to forget. Now let's talk about waste. One of the biggest things we deal with is all the trash we make.
Yeah.
Especially plastic.
I know. It's crazy how much plastic I end up with when I travel.
It piles up fast. But there's good news. Lots of ways to reduce it.
Tell me.
Bring your own reusable water bottle. Refill it everywhere.
Already on it.
Pack a reusable shopping bag. No more plastic bags. And when you get takeout, just say no to those plastic utensils and straws.
Such good tips. So practical.
Right. Easy to do.
I can do that.
And be mindful of what you buy. Support local businesses that are doing things the right way. Choose products that are made from recycled stuff or with minimal packaging.
I've noticed a lot of souvenir shops are offering more eco-friendly options.
Isn't that great?
It's really cool to see that change.
It is. And remember, every little thing counts. Even if you can't be perfect. Every step towards responsible travel makes a difference.
I'm feeling so inspired. It's great to know we can make our travels more eco-friendly without giving up the things we love. But I gotta admit, one thing that still gets me is jet lag.
Oh, jet lag. The traveler's worst enemy. But guess what? There are things you can do to lessen the blow, make the transition easier.
Okay, tell me everything.
Well, first things first. Try to gradually adjust your sleep schedule in the days leading up to your trip.
Oh.
So if you're going east, try going to bed and waking up a little earlier each day.
Oh, okay.
If you're going west, do the opposite.
So you're kind of prepping your body for the new time zone.
You got it. And once you land, get some sunlight. It helps reset your internal clock.
So no hiding in the hotel room.
Get out there, explore, soak up that sunshine.
Sounds good to me. Speaking of sunshine, we gotta talk about sun protection. Yeah. Especially if we're spending time outdoors.
So important. But did you know a lot of sunscreens have chemicals that can damage coral reefs and marine life?
Oh, no. Wow, I didn't realize that.
It's true. So look for reef-safe sunscreens, the ones made with zinc oxide or titanium dioxide.
Okay.
They're great for you and the environment.
I'm switching to Reef Safe for sure. And I'll keep refilling my reusable water bottle instead of buying plastic ones.
Yes, that's the way to do it.
And of course, if we're having a picnic or eating outside, we'll pack out all our trash, leave no trace behind.
Love that. It's about being respectful guests in these amazing places.
It really is. Speaking of respect, let's not forget about cultural sensitivity.
So important. Being mindful of local customs and traditions.
Right. Before we even go somewhere new, we should take some time to learn about the culture. Dress codes, greetings, dining etiquette, you know all those things.
You got it. A little effort goes a long way.
It shows respect and appreciation.
Exactly. And honestly, the best travel experiences often come when we step outside our comfort zones.
I agree.
Embrace the unknown.
It's about challenging our assumptions. Learning from people who are different from us.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Travel can really open up our minds, help us understand the world in a whole new way.
It's a powerful thing, and when we approach it responsibly, with respect, we can actually make a positive difference.
I love that. It's like we're all interconnected, and our actions can help create a better world.
Beautifully said. I think that's a perfect place to pause for a moment. We'll be right back. To finish up our deep dive on eco-friendly travel, with some final thoughts and maybe even some inspiration for your next adventure. All right, we're back, ready to wrap up our deep dive into eco-friendly travel.
Let's do it.
I gotta say, I'm feeling really inspired to actually make my future trips as sustainable as possible.
I love that. It's amazing how these little changes we've been talking about can really add up, making a positive impact on the planet and the people we meet along the way.
Absolutely. We covered a lot of ground, from eco-friendly accommodations and transportation to packing light and embracing slow travel, even supporting those sustainable tour operators, and of course, those simple everyday things we can do to reduce our footprint.
It's not about being perfect.
Right.
It's about making progress.
Every little bit helps.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to go back to that blog that started it all.
Traveling in my 70s.
Yeah. It's written by a traveler who clearly loves exploring the world sustainably. What are some of the big takeaways you got from it, and how can our listeners actually use that info, for their own travel plans?
Well, one thing that really stood out to me was the emphasis on how powerful travel can be, especially as we get a little older.
Right.
The author talks about how travel can really broaden our perspectives, deepen our understanding of the world.
Yeah.
And ignite that sense of wonder for all the amazing cultures and landscapes out there.
I totally agree. Travel kind of shakes things up.
Yeah.
Challenges our assumptions.
It does. And this blog reminded me that sustainable travel isn't about giving things up. It's about making those experiences even richer.
Right, by connecting more deeply with the places, being respectful of the environment, supporting those local communities.
Exactly. Traveling with intention.
Leaving a positive mark. I like that.
And that leads me to another important point from the blog. Slowing down.
Yeah.
Really savoring the journey.
Yes.
The author encourages us to resist that urge to rush.
I'm so guilty of that, trying to squeeze everything in.
We've all been there. But I've realized the best moments often happen when you just slow down.
Yeah.
Wander off the beaten path. Let yourself be surprised.
Totally. And when we slow down, we actually reduce our impact, too.
Right. Fewer flights, shorter distances, less consumption overall.
Win-win. I love those. Okay, and it's great to see that so many businesses are actually embracing eco-friendly practices now.
It's so encouraging.
Hotels, tour operators, even restaurants.
Yeah, it gives me hope that we can really build a better travel industry.
Me too. And I think it's so important for travelers to use their voices, support those businesses that are doing the right things.
You got it. Vote with your dollars. Choose companies that align with your values.
And share those experiences with others. Tell your friends and family. Post about it online. Get people excited about sustainable travel.
Exactly. Spread the word.
And remember, even the smallest things can make a difference.
Absolutely. Choosing to walk instead of taking a cab.
Yeah.
Saying no to plastic. Supporting those local shops. It all adds up.
So true. Well, I think we've explored just about everything there is to know about eco-friendly travel. Any last words of wisdom before we sign off?
Just this. Travel is a gift. It's a privilege.
It is.
And it's a chance to connect with the world in a really meaningful way.
Yeah.
So let's cherish that gift by traveling responsibly, with respect, sustainably, leaving those places better than we found them.
I love that. Well said. A huge thank you to all our listeners for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
We hope you learned something new and that you're feeling inspired to make your next adventure a little greener. Until next time, happy travels.